Hey yo, it's Bee, and welcome back to Watermelon Parade. Today I'm drawing Ghibli girls as magical girls, because what's a better idea? Starting off with Princess Mononoke, we have San. I really wanted to keep her design tough, but also integrate the cutesiness of a magical girl. I gave her a big ribbon in the back to increase the girliness, and luckily she's already wearing a skirt, so I just made that a bit more poofy. I struggled with the legs a lot before I realized that I had the wrong leg going forward. Sometimes you can spend forever on a part before you realize what was wrong with the base pose. I included her brothers as her magical girl mascot characters, but they also help her out in battles. I really wanted to include them because I love them. They're so cute. I did San first, so this was before I decided I wasn't going to use line art for these drawings. So I ended up drawing the complete line art for her before I decided I hate line art, so I'm not going to do it anymore. But of course, you guys get to see all the wasted effort I put in. Instead of doing line art, I decided to use the sketch layer as a multiply layer over the sketch and painted underneath until I eventually merged the layers and got a result I liked a lot better than doing line art. This was actually the first drawing I started doing in this style, and it really was a breakthrough for me. My favorite things about San are how tough and feral she is. I've always had a weakness for wild child characters, and San was probably the character that started that love for me. I think of her spitting out Moro's blood across the river and all the wolf adventures she goes on, and I can't help but agree with Sashitaka about how beautiful she is. As a magical girl, I see San as the lone wolf type, the one that goes off on adventures by herself when things get tough and likes to do the dirty work, but also has really big pride about the stuff that she does and would often get on the case of the people that are not as tough as she is. Next is Nezika from Nezika and the Valley of the Wind. I absolutely love this movie, and all the visuals are etched into my mind since childhood, back when it was choppily released as Warriors of the Wind with awful redrawn box art covers. With Nezika, I definitely needed to show her riding her glider, but unfortunately, gliders go in the category of things I'm bad at drawing, so please ignore anything that doesn't look good. I struggled a lot with her design, making it more magical girl themed because of how fantasy her outfit already is, and the aesthetics didn't want to merge properly. And even now, I'm not super satisfied with how her design turned out. I tried to mix between her two outfits, but I think in the end her design still lends more fantasy RPG than magical girl. Of course, I included her squirrel fox as her companion, or mascot character, and I love how Nezika is able to tame creatures in her story, so I definitely think that's part of her powers as a magical girl. Her abilities would be to be able to calm and pacify threats and maybe even bring them over to her side, but the more hostile an enemy is, the more of a toll it takes on her. She definitely got the martyr self-sacrificey vibe going on, and in my imagined story, she might be the character that dies or almost dies to protect everyone. I think the main issue I have with the design is how cool Nezika is, and how to reconcile that coolness with being a magical girl, which I typically think of as bloomers and huge ribbons and being excessively cute. Not that Nezika isn't cute too, but I definitely think out of all the Ghibli girls, she's the coolest. I definitely see her taking a leadership position with all the other girls, keeping them safe and leaving all the reckless jobs for herself. I can see San and Nezika fighting all the time because of their strong personalities grating against each other, and San's pride not wanting to be kept safe and wanting to do all the badass jobs, but definitely being too much of a lone wolf to be a leader. As much as I love Ashitaka and San's relationship, I would love to see some rivals to lovers romantic tension between these two. Now for Chihiro from Spirited Away. Ended up struggling the most with her design, and was her pose at the beginning there. I combined her two outfits and color palettes, but it often ended up looking too ninja or Konichi instead of magical girl, which definitely wasn't the look I was going for. For the pose, I wanted her to look flustered, but to be also floating in the air with Haku as her companion, but it obviously didn't go well the first few times. I eventually landed on something that looked good. For Haku, I wanted to make a smaller version, though not as small as San's siblings, but enough that he could fit like around her neck. I also put the suit sprites in her hair to keep her company. I remember watching Spirited Away as a kid and was baffled at there being a new Ghibli movie because all the ones I had seen before came out before I was born. My older sister had gotten her hand on a bootleg copy before it had been released in the States, and we watched it on her old computer. I love how much of a crybaby Sans is. It was her most relatable part for me growing up, since I was a huge crybaby myself. I loved watching this sullen girl get swept up on this grand adventure and her learning what matters the most to her and how those values are what got her through the darkest of situations. As a magical girl, I imagine she works with Haku and summons the river, and the soot sprites guide her to the right course of action. I imagine her to be the baby of the group that needs the most guidance, but is a powerful asset and would also probably get into fights with Sans too, because she doesn't want to be treated like she's weak, but kind of gets into a mentor-mentoree relationship where San is the unwilling teacher, and Chihiro is hardworking and tries to emulate San. Next, we got Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle, who I know is a lot of people's favorite Ghibli movie. I love Howl's Moving Castle, but it's probably my 5th favorite, with the other movies here being slightly more preferred. My favorites are Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, Nezika, they're closely tied, Spirited Away, and then Howl's Moving Castle. Not that it isn't an absolutely lovely movie, this is just my personal preferences. I know for Sophie, right away, I wanted to give her a hat that was actually Calcifer. Especially since Calcifer eats her hair at the end of the movie, I love the combination and I felt really clever with the idea. Unlike Nezika, Sophie's design landed really easy to a magical girl, with the Victorian-ish outfits leading to a more Lolita fashion, which easily bounced into magical girl as soon as I took away the practicality of the outfit. As part of the magical girl gang, Sophie is the voice of reason and calms down conflicts between the group. Everyone gets along with Sophie around whether they want to or not, and Chihiro and Kiki joke around about her being their grandma. Like how Chihiro is the staple water elemental, Sophie is the staple fire elemental, but she also has some time-related powers thanks to her curse, and some space-related powers thanks to Calcifer, which, thinking on that, makes her really OP. Well, her drawback is that she doesn't have a strong control over the powers and generally has to appease Calcifer to help, but is also too stubborn to stop using him as a stove. And finally, we have my absolute favorite Ghibli girl, the one closest to my heart, Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. She was the first one I designed in my head and started off this idea because what suits Kiki better than being an adorable magical girl? I can't quite put into words why I love Kiki so much. Maybe it's her struggles that resonate, or how cute I find her, or how I obsessively imagine myself going on a witch training adventure like her when I was a kid. I love the analogy for art block and burnout the story has, and I can relate a lot with trying your best in a new environment, and even when things are doing okay, you're not doing okay. I love how the whole moral of the story is to take time for yourself, and when it really matters, you'll be able to bounce back. You just have to learn how to believe in yourself again. As a magical girl, Kiki is with Chihiro being the baby of the group and gets along with her like a house on fire. She admires Nezika fiercely and depends on Sophie's grandmotherly charms, and respects Sans. Kiki feels a bit of an inferiority complex because, unlike the other girls, the only thing she can do is fly, but she still does her best to contribute and learn more about how to control her powers. Thank you for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed my Ghibli magical girls. I spent a lot of time on them, and I loved them deeply. I'm sorry about my voice for this video. I had a cold. Let me know what you guys think, and if you want any other redesigned characters as magical girls. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye!